Engines roar on a moonlit stage. Steel beasts roll a distant wage. Truckers' voices crying through the night. Tales of speed and endless fights. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels in endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels and endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways.
Well, good Thursday afternoon again. I hope everybody's doing good today out there in trucking land. I hope everything you did today was great, successful, and most of all, safe. It's good to have you back here on Truckers Voices right here with Tim and Steve. And we got a special guest for you tonight, Jeff Mefford. And he's going to come on and tell his story because that's what this is all about. This is about telling your story about how you got into the trucking industry. Now, you know, sometimes we have some guests on here that bring some educational insight to us, such as Atri with Rebecca Brewster and all that. But the main premise of this show is to hear trucker stories and how they got into trucking. You know, we don't do the current event stuff, what's going on in the trucking industry, anything like that. We may touch on it every now and then if there's a regulation or something going on we want to talk about. But most of all, it's just about those stories. And hey, I just want to tell you, everybody that was down at the safety drive, or up for me at the safety drive for Cure in Atlanta this past weekend, we had a great turnout. We had a lot of drivers representing a lot of different companies there, Walmart, UPS, FedEx, you know, just all kind of companies, Old Dominion. I just can't name them all, but they came together and they raised over $55,000 for the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. What a great feat. And you know what? My hands are off to y'all, and I got you guys did a great job up there. And Herschel Evans, man, if you're listening to this or you listen to it on the replay, hats off to you there, Herschel. You did a great job putting that thing together, and we definitely all appreciate it. Now, some of you guys got up there and saw how rusty you was, so y'all got to knock that rust off of those TDC competition wheels and get that thing sharpened up some. So it's time to get going. It's TDC season, and y'all got to get into this right here. That 2025 Facts for Drivers book. You better get into it because those backroom points, they come into play sometimes. They sure do. And they can help you across the finish line every now and then. But like I said, we got a good show lined up for you tonight, and I'm going to bring Steve in here on his music there. And Steve, you know what?
They hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty.
Steve, you doing good tonight, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How's everybody doing out there? You know,
dude, I've been riding dirty. I've been riding dirty with that yellow film on my truck. It's called Holland, and it's all up in my nose and my sinuses and everything else right now. Things are starting to bloom down here in South Georgia, man.
Well, it's kind of the way it is today. I was off today. I had to get a root canal at the dentist office, but
Ooh, that hurts.
believe it or not, my dentist is getting good. He's getting pretty good. I'm doing all right. But anyhow, I got to looking at my grass and it's starting to green up, but I got a little pollen on my truck every now and again, and now it's raining out there, so beautiful, you know. But no, doing real good.
Well, see, tell me about the safety drive, man. You was down there from Ohio, so tell me how that went with you.
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. We had a great turnout. Got to see some old friends. Got to meet some new friends. Learned a couple things. Come in fourth in my class. Not impressed with myself, but hey, you know, the main objective of safety drive is to raise money for the children. You know, raise money. Let's find a cure for that awful disease. And then what it does for me personally, it gets me in that mindset for May 16th and May 17th up here in the Buckeye, because that's what our TDC is.
Right.
But,
right.
You know, I took a fellow driver with me, fellow TDCer up here, and he never been there, had a blast. You know, I said, you get to go to somebody else's terrain. You get to see what other people do. You get to talk to other people. And there again, raising money to fight an awful disease. That's the main objective. And I think every year we've done it, we've raised that bar, bar, you know. And what an awesome event. And everybody chips in. Whether it's setting up chairs, tearing down chairs, emptying trash, scoring problems, but we're just a TDC family, you know. We're just a TDC family.
You never know the sacrifice that you make to make it up there to the TDC. What difference you might make in a family that just finds out that, you know, their child has a tumor in their brain. So, you know, every little penny that raised, and I know this for a fact, it goes to the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. It doesn't go for administration or anything like that. It all gets, you know, handed out to the families to help them when they find out that, you know, that awful news.
Exactly. And that's the most awesome deal. And I tell you, there's always a family or two that shows up every year. And if you see the power and the strength behind them little ones, that is something to thrive on. You know, right. It really puts it in perspective. Honestly, I know others have said this, but your every day-to-day problems that we go through, it ain't nothing.
No,
it ain't nothing. But to see the fight in those little ones' eyes, it makes you strive harder. You know, but it is an awesome event, and you know, so.
Well, all right, Steve, I got to get this out of the way right here. The views expressed on this show are those of the host and the guest only and do not reflect those of others or other entities. I'll add to that. So anyway, we got that legal stuff out of the way. We just have to do that to let everybody know that, hey, you know what that is? It's because we all have opinions, you know, and, you know, it's our opinions only.
Exactly. And like I always say, don't get offended, people. Don't get offended.
No. You know, hey, you know, if you're a truck driver, if you got feelings, you were supposed to leave your feelings at the DMV office when you got your CDLs. Because if you got a truck driver, your feelings are going to get hurt at some point in time there, right?
I always make that joke when I go out the door. I pick my keys up off the board and I hang that feeling up. I don't, and then when I come in, I hang them keys up, put that feeling back in, you know.
There used to be a sign at my terminal and it said, leave the baggage at home.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, you don't want to go to work upset. You don't want to go to work mad.
No,
you want to go to work with a positive attitude, and that way you drive safe and you get home safe, you get everybody else home safe, and that's the way to do it.
That's right. Well, we have belabored this long enough and got our monologue out of the way. So let's bring our guests on in here. Everybody, Mr. Jeff Mefford from Cincinnati, Ohio. I do believe I got it right.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff, we bring everybody in on the Rocky theme because everybody in their own rights are champions in our eyes.
Yeah, I hear you, and I appreciate it. And like I said, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you come on, and we're excited to hear your story, hear what you got to say to us tonight. I know you and Steve know each other very well. And, I think I've seen you around the safety drive before. I don't think we've ever had, sit down and had a good conversation. You probably seen me up there running my mouth on the microphone quite a few times there.
Yeah, I've known who you were for a long time. We just never talked. So
Right. Well, I'm glad you have come across our path, and I'm glad I talked to your sister this past weekend, and she said, "Man, you got to get him on there and hear his story." And my eyes perked up, my ears perked up. I said, "I want to hear a story." So that's what we're all about.
yeah, she's one of my #1 fans, and she's going to be a great part of my story when I tell it. So you'll know about her.
All right. Well, I'm going to let Steve greet you, and then we'll just jump right on into it. I'll let Steve bring you into it, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Yeah, Jeff, it was great seeing you last week. I'll let you tell your story. I won't give any secrets away, but it's great to see you. I know we don't see each other maybe once, maybe twice a year, but we always have a good time. We get caught up and everything's great. And hey, I'm anxious to hear your story, brother. Just you got the platform. It's yours.
Well, like I said, it's been a great part of my life. I've been a truck driver for 43 years, and I come from, my dad was a truck driver for 36, 37, and my dad was in the truck driving championships, and that's how we got introduced to that. My dad used to come to my house with a B model Mac with 2 gear shifts and pick me up when I was 8, 9, 10 years old and go practice with those guys. So I always remembered that. And then I sat here after high school. I waited for a scholarship for baseball that never came. And I thought, well, I better go get a job. And I started working for this little health food kosher food distributor. And they had 10-wheel and 6-wheel refrigerated straight trucks. And we ran them to West Virginia, Chicago, Columbus, Indianapolis, Lexington, Louisville, Dayton, Cincinnati. We ran them everywhere. And I absolutely loved it. So at that time, that started the dream for me about getting back in the truck driving championships. And I got to compete in '89. We got to go to the Teamster truck driving championship. I started the day I was 21 driving, and that was 1980. So I got to rodeo with my dad one time, and he won the 3-axle and I won the 5-axle, and was the overall grand champion. So that was a special, special day for me. And then I didn't get to rodeo up until 1996, because I started working for Roadway, and you had to sit out until you could have a driving bid. So anyhow, long story short, my dad, he passed away in 2001, and that was 7 days before our state championship. And my dad, Steve knows this, Tim, but my dad used to help set up the courses for Oprah. They used to run the TDC in Ohio before the Ohio Trucking Association did it. And he was well known and well liked and well loved, and he set up and helped and mentored. And that's where I got a lot of my abilities, was from him. And anyway, long story short, my dad passed, and my family said, "You go up there." I had no intentions of going up there. Anyway, went, and that was the first time I won first place at the TEC at Ohio. And since that point, I've been lucky enough to win 8 first place championships and participate 8 times at the Nationals. So you touched earlier with Steve about the back room and the book, and that won me about 4 or 5 grand champions, was reading that book and practicing that pre-trip. And it's just unbelievable. And our ride, our story, when I got in the trucking industry, I wanted to make it something different. I didn't want it to just be a job. I wanted it to be a way of life, and make it about our family, for what my dad gave us, the name he gave us, and just wanting to be proud of all of us. And in doing so, I got my children into it, Rachel and my two oldest girl, or my oldest daughter and son. My sisters, I got a whole bunch of sisters, but you met Melissa down there at Safety Drive. She's a nurse. So, and you saw her jump in there and drive that tanker truck.
I did.
Yeah. And that girl's won 3 times down there, first, second, and third. And, and her sons, and they would come and help me practice. And in the heat and in the rain and the wind, the snow, whatever it was. And it was a family thing. They came to all of my national events. Now, the companies I was working for at the time, they were pulling their hairs going, what are we going to do with all these extra people, But my family, they always paved the way, and they were there to root for them guys too. They weren't just there for me. So like I said, it's been a family event, and you get down all the way back to, with my mom. We always asked my mom, how long you been going to the rodeos? With my dad, he rodeoed for 30 years, and me, I was right almost 30 years. And she'd go, well, a long time, and Steve's seen my mom. He knows my mother, and everybody up there knows my mom. And anyway, this past 2023, that was my last championship before I retired. I retired last year on my birthday, May 17th, which is a thing that's kind of cool because our TDC is usually on my birthday, 15th and 16th of May. So anyway, my mom told me up there, I did get to get a 3rd place. That was my last time I was going to do it. And she said, the answer to your question was, how many times have I been to the rodeo or been rodeoing? And that woman sat in the heat and in the wind and in the snow and rain for years, helping us practice and rooting for us and all that. She told me her first rodeo she went to was for my dad, and she was pregnant with me. So you do the math. I'll be 66 here in a minute. That's how long that lady was around those trucks. So like I said, guys, I couldn't have scripted a better life, than what the trucking industries gave to me.
Now, Jeff, Ohio, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Ohio made a special situation award. I don't want to give it away. So could you talk about that?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to get everybody in I could, and this is a very great highlight in my life. Like I said, or if I didn't say, to be a national champion has been my dream for 40 years. I never got it. 5th, 7th in the nation, both them two is the best I ever got. And I'm so proud of that. But I wanted my mom to be up on that stage with me at some point. And I was hoping it'd be on the national level, but you had to win to get up there. So anyhow, 2016, I believe it was, I was fortunate enough. I got another win at our state TDC, and the Tom Bolzer, he's the one that runs it up there, and he starts talking about my family. And so he calls for my mother to come up on the stage. Well, my mom, she was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk real good. And a couple gentlemen came back and got her and took her up there. And he calls me to come up there. So I was so thrilled. I'm going, well, finally, my mom, after all these years, I got to get her. She gets to go up on that stage. Well, my mom was terrified. Our TDC in that banquet, there was probably 1,000, 1,200 people. You think, Steve, somewhere around in there?
Oh, easy,
maybe more. And my mom was just taken aback by it so much. And Tom starts telling about my dad, and the Ohio TDC is going to give a Volunteer of the Year award in honor of my dad. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're
fine.
I mean,
it was such a proud moment.
Right.
And our family has just been elated since they did that for us. That was the classiest thing I've ever seen done, how he did that. and it meant so much to our family. And so he goes on and talks, and my mom's a little frail woman, she don't weigh 70 pounds. And there was one more trophy up there on that table. And it was a grand champion trophy. He looks at my mom and he says, Miss Mefford, he said, go ahead and grab that trophy and give it to the 2016 grand champion. And my mom reached around and grabbed that trophy with one hand and handed it to me. And Steve knows
and that's a heavy trophy.
Our trophies they're heavy. They're the most beautiful things. The first time I saw one, I told her, someone get me some of them. And I ended up with 8. So anyhow, she handed me that trophy with one hand. And like I said, there wasn't a dry eye in the room, and we got done and afterwards and we were out in the hallway. And she says, Jeffrey, she said, did you win that grand champion? She said, I know I handed you a trophy. She said, I thought they went back to the table and got your first place one. I said, no, Mom, it was this one. And I handed it to her, and she almost tipped over out of the chair once the adrenaline was done, And it just, like I said, guys, if you, and Steve was there, and one of the most incredible, heartfelt moments of my career. And I've had many, 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 and all the people we've met, the great people we met. I've met you too from this too. So if I could,
that was a very memorable night. There was not a butt in the seat. Everybody was standing up.
Yeah.
And you had all these burly truck drivers holding them tears back. They're allergies. My God.
Yeah. But there was go ahead.
What I was going to say, that right there brings in the family, and when you get to doing these TDCs, you are a family.
That's
in each and every state, and then we go to like safety drive, and you run into people that you've seen at nationals, people that you see year after year at the safety drive, and it's really an awesome thing. And to me, it makes you a better driver. It really makes you a better driver.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll just tell you that TDC program from the ATA, it made me the driver I was for 43 years. Because you got to be safe to go. And if it means something to you, which it did, and it helped me, it bettered me in everything. And, just with the whole aspect of every bit of my life. And the people, again, I've met, I've got people all over the country, Christmas, birthday, Thanksgiving, text me, call me. We still keep up like we just talked to them yesterday. So just how I'm doing with you. I haven't seen you until the safety drive this year. So, and didn't see you last year just for a minute. So it's been amazing.
Exactly. Kind of move off of the TDC there. You said you started out driving a 6-wheeler, 10-wheeler. Kind of go through your career. What was your stair stepping of your career to get you to the retirement? Well,
I started with that, and me and a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, he was the best man at my wedding, Joe. We wanted to drive tractor and trailers, and the company we worked for, they had all their products were brought in from the East Coast and West Coast, and we told them, we said, man, we'll make you a fortune, we'll save you a bunch of money, and do this. And they didn't want to do that. They said, we're not getting in the trucking industry. So he went a different way for a little bit, and he started driving a tractor trailer. And then the company he went to brought me in, and I started with a straight truck. Then I went to a 3-axle. Then we had 50-foot swing doors. It was Wyford was the company's name all those years ago out of Indianapolis. We had 48s, 45s, and 50-foot trailers, and we pedaled Spring Grove and downtown with them big trailers. So that was really how I learned. And with my dad, he tried to tell me everything that he could. He took me over to Roadway one day and dropped a 44,000-pound trailer low and told me if I get under it, I can drive anything. So I got under it, and I was driving ever since. So we went from groceries, and I loved that job. I'm going to tell you guys, that was one of the best jobs I ever had. and I just loved it. And then we started hauling freight. And then, of course, when you haul freight, you're back in the grocery business because you go to all the grocery houses. And so I drove for Whiteford. Then I drove for Hall Brothers. Then I quit and we moved to Florida. My sister worked down there at a delicatessen, and she knew a man, her boss, and he had 15, 20 trucks. He ran coast to coast. And I thought, well, maybe I'll get my own truck. So I quit my job up here, and we went down there and we hauled palm trees from Homestead, Florida to San Diego. And I learned really quickly what not to do. Let me tell you, it was neat, but let me tell you, you had to chase this man down to get your money and all the just things that were just not copacetic to me. So we quit that. Our companies took us back, and we started working for a company called Hall Brothers out of Orleans, Indiana. And we worked for them for about a year and a half, 2 years, I think. And they sold their LTL rights to Dayton Freight. So we could have went to Dayton Freight, but Roadway at the time was going to hire 30 drivers. So me and my friend, we went over, put our application in there, passed all their tests and all their things. We were a casual for a day and a half there. And I started my 33-year career, ended up at which turned out to be Yellow, but that's where I ended up. So started with groceries and went to hauling freight, and it's been amazing. I've got to learn a lot of stuff and the pre-trip things and learn about all of that. And I was telling Tim this morning just briefly, I've been offered to be on the road team before, and I didn't think I could talk good enough in front of all the people. And my company wanted me to be on all these safety things, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't think I could get to everybody in the room, and I was kind of afraid to be in the front part, And anyway, long story short, one day my manager, I got signed up on this safety team. And he asked me, he said, well, will you give a pre-trip demonstration in front of all these guys and like you do at the National and or in competition? I said, well, sure. So I did. And, and you guys already know this, but when I got done, I had one guy, he'd been driving for us for 17 years. And he came up to me and he said, Jeff, he said, I didn't have any idea about all that stuff you were telling me I was supposed to look at. He said, I never even knew that. So my point was I got to one person in that room, and then I thought, man, okay, I can do this. And so then from that point on, I was a safety trainer, and you two know what that entails, and that's hard. But, again, if you can get one guy or one lady, and help them to start their career to be something great, then you've accomplished something well. And that was what my dad did all the time. My dad didn't care so much if he was ever a national champion. He wanted to help the people and be a mentor to them. So that's where I got most of that. That's what my daughter taught me. She told me, she said, Dad, you're the same way. And I thought it was just I wanted to be a national champion, but no, I do like to help people if I can. So yeah, really.
We all want to win and win the titles, but it's kind of like over here on the weekends, helping the rookies out, helping the veterans out do better. If they win, I win.
Yeah, exactly. I have
a part in helping them.
Exactly.
I want to be on that big stage. Yes, I do. But so with Roadway / Yellow, was you a line haul driver or was you city?
City. I'm sorry. Yeah. Most of my time has been city and pedaled, we pedal 30 stops, man, in a day. Easy. I took a set of doubles to the area I run, and I emptied 2 and filled 2 up every single day. So, and I loved it. And as I was talking to Tim this morning, these younger guys, for them to understand, and I talked to this when I was a trainer, you got to have customers. I don't care how big you are, bad, or how all these great things you are. If you don't have any customers, you don't have a company, you don't have a job. And I tried to work with these people like they were family. Again, the family aspect of it. And and it just worked out great. I mean, I run the one area, Norwood or Fairfax, for about 12 years. And it was a hard run. I mean, I can't tell you, you'd have 3 or 5 home deliveries and all the schools and little malls and shopping malls, and you're in the wires and the trees all day long and all of this. But you know what? The people treated me amazingly well down there. So I stayed down there, and that was I loved it, you know, and I loved it. So I did. Eventually, I got enough seniority. I think I was 5th or 6th by the time before they shut the doors. But I used to haul out of a chemical company in Norwood, and I come out of there, EMD, Melispor. You've seen it. Your company used to haul out of it all the time. And
Right.
I come out of there, 28 placards on my truck almost every day. 44,000. And you got to have all that stuff strapped. I mean, you've got to be in compliance with DOT the whole time. You've got to be safe the whole time you're hauling this stuff around. And these are the things that you're trying to teach these new guys. You know, it just ain't a big gear shift and a, you know, big transmission and all that, big motor, which I know they like the automatics now anyway, but it's more about just, you know, hanging on to something and making it your own. And so that's just what I learned. I wouldn't change the time frame I got in the trucking industry for anything in the world. Them older guys that ran in the areas I did, they didn't care if you were a union driver or non-union driver. You were out there doing what they did, and they would help you. You get on that CB, if you needed help, somebody would come along and help you. And today, in this economy, in this world, it's you'd be lucky to get anybody to answer you. So
You're right.
Like I said, trust me, guys, I'm thankful for my career. I'm thankful for my life. I'm thankful I got to get to this retirement thing. So that's something I didn't know if I'd ever get to do. And I wanted to live my. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, speaking of your retirement thing, I actually want to circle back around because I kind of jotted something down here. Did I hear you right when you said that you started driving when you was 18?
21.
21. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it was 80. I was trying to think. So I was born in 59. So I worked for that little kosher health food place. I worked on the dock at first, loaded trucks and all that. And then the day I turned 21, I got my chauffeur's license and went. So my pension is for 33 years of roadway time. So through the 10 years. So
starting driving at 21 and you started, you know, of course it was a chauffeur's license back then. Your dad, was he the main one that taught you how to drive those trucks, or was there some other influences in your life that kind of helped you through that?
Just watching people, you know, really, and being at that place. And sometimes we could back the trucks in at night and load them. And so you kind of I already knew how to drive a stick, you know. I learned that, you know, when I started driving. And but my dad took me. I watched my dad do a lot of things for a long time. And that day he took me over the roadway, like I said, and you guys both know what it is to get under 45,000 when it's dropped real low and not tear the drive shaft out or tear something up. And and then he drove me around there 3 or 4 times, and that was really my training with my dad. You know, he can do it. He just, you can do it, and that's what he'd say. And but I had a lot of other guys that I learned along the way, watching, backing up, shifting. So I just try to, you know, improve on that, get a little bit from somebody, and then make it to be my own. So self-taught a lot of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're missing the mark, Jeff, on a lot of the drivers that's going through the CDL schools and all that. Me personally, my opinion is they don't put them through the school long enough. But some of that on-the-job experience, real-life stuff, is where we're missing it at. Because as soon as they get them through the CDL school in 6 weeks, they throw them out there, and then 2 weeks later, they're a trainer themselves, which is scary. You know what I mean?
I just tell you a real quick story about that too. When I was a trainer, and we had this one guy, and he was with every trainer, so he was past his 6 weeks. Well, my manager, he came to me and he said, "Well, I'm gonna let him ride with you for the next 5 days," and he did. and he'd be great for 5 minutes, but then he'd stop dead in the middle of the highway because he couldn't shift the truck. And so, or they would forget going around a turn. They're going around a turn, going good. Then next thing you know, the next turn, they don't forget they got a trailer and they almost rip the hood off the car at the intersection. Anyhow, I was getting ready to go on vacation for 3 weeks, which I loved about my job because I had all them vacation time. So I'd love to go for 3 weeks at a time. My manager, they wanted that guy signed off on that Friday before I went. And I told him, I said, I'm not signing this piece of paper. This guy's not ready. And I didn't sign anybody off on that. I wouldn't put my name on anybody for that wasn't ready. So I went on vacation. They went with somebody else. And next thing you know, when I came back, he had, I guess, hit 3 things in 3 weeks. So, to me, that is, what's the point? Give them a little extra time, or at some point they can't do this. So you got to tell them no. This is when you see the importance of safety, and that's what I would tell any of these new drivers, and I do. Safety. It ain't about speed. You be accurate and safe. I mean, that's what you want to do. That's how you start your career. And exactly. They just look at you and yeah, well, and every now and then, like you said, Steve, you get that one and he got it, or she got it. And so I just wish the companies would. I know they need drivers. I understand that, but you need people to be able to be taught to be good drivers. You don't want just anybody. I wouldn't know how these guys sleep at night. Some of these managers of these companies, honestly. So
right. I'm hearing a lot, and each individual is his own or her own individual. But I'm hearing they don't train these drivers anymore. They train them to pass a test, and then once they pass a test, well, then they're on their own, figure it out. Okay, we've all been there and done that. But, I started driving in '89, but I had some knowledge of what I was doing prior to that.
Yeah.
And, hey, we all get in that hot dog mode. You get in that hot dog mode, but then you got to look at yourself and say, ooh, I about messed up.
Yeah.
And, they've got to, it's like you said, Jeff, and you said it perfect. It's not a job. It is a career. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you right now, 36 years, I've never missed a paycheck. I've never missed a meal. My kids had the best that they could get, that I could get them. I mean, and there's so many different avenues of trucking right now, to be home every day, to being gone 2-3 weeks at a time, if that's what you choose,
Right.
So, and let me touch on that a little bit. You said you drove for Hall Brothers and Whiteford and different ones, and then you went and got your own truck and started hauling palm trees. What made you come into the LTL? What got you off the road? A lot of guys, they say once the diesel smoke gets in your blood, it's just they can't get off the road.
Well, we went to hauling freight because that was the job that had tractor trailers, so we could learn how to drive them. Like I said, the straight trucks were a grocery health food distributor, and they weren't going to have no tractor trailers. So we went to a place that had them and would teach us. We learned on the job. I mean, they just turned us loose pretty much. And about the palm tree thing, that wasn't my truck. That was somebody else's truck. But that gave me an idea of what I was not going to do to have a truck. I'm just telling you. And you talk about, being a cowboy. We all were there and done that at the beginning. Boots, buckle, the whole deal. And this is amazing and great and on that CB. But at some point, man, you snap into reality. This would be professional about this. And I'm not saying a cowboy can't be professional, but there's other thought processes before those boots. It's your attitude. Like you said, man, I can't tell you how hard that is. I drove with these guys and they were about ready. They want to get out and choke somebody because whether they were trained and somebody cut them off. I said, you ain't going to have no career if you can't take that, because that's going to happen all day long. The whole time, and then try to teach them how it is with an empty trailer. with, all them brakes, doing different things. That's just as bad as 80,000 pounds somebody slams in front of you. So you got all of these different things, and that's what you learn when you're building that career. You want to be better, than just the next guy, and then you're going to do good for your company. And to touch base real quick again on the championships, what it taught me, you be safe so people can go home that travel around you and work around you. Then you get to go home yourself safe and be with your family. Again, family. And then your company, they can thrive and not have a bad stain, or, pay all this money out for stupidity, which a lot of this is, or don't do your pre-trip. I had guys, I told you that chemical place, when I go on vacation, they're going, well, I'm not strapping all this stuff in there. I'd strap 30 skids, 35 skids, whatever it was, block them all in and strap. And I'm not doing that. What do you mean you're not doing that? That's the DOT law. That's what you're required to do. Or I'm not going to put all them placards on there. 24 placards, 28 placards. I did almost daily down there. And those people treated me like a king. I came in and did the job the way it was supposed to, what they asked me to do. We did our swap out, tried to help all these people that came in there, couldn't speak English. And I watched them put 4 placards on one side of the trailer, and just all of this stuff. So, it's been a lot of up and down, and good and bad, but more good than not. And again, man, I'm blessed to make it to where I could be talking to you guys tonight. And that's the truth of the matter. So,
Right.
Well, Jeff, keep that thought on the state titles. I do have a question I want to ask you, but I do want to tell everybody that I'm opening up the phone lines right now. And if you got any questions or comments or stories about Jeff, we'd invite you to call in now. Our number is 251-616-2151. I'm going to put it down here in the chat, but it's 251-616-2151. All right. So, Jeff, tell us a little bit about those 8 state titles that you got.
Okay. Well, I just got lucky and won 8 times. I've got my share of seconds and thirds. And like I said, with Oprah before the Ohio Trucking Association, I think I won 5. I know I won 5 championships in twins. I've won 1 championship in 3-axle. I've won 2 championships in 5-axle, and I almost won in 4-axle at Ohio Trucking Association. So I wanted to win before I was done with my career and everything I drove. And the only 2 things I didn't get to do was straight truck and then sleeper. Well, Steve was in the sleeper, so I was afraid he beat me up there. So I didn't get in that one. And then, of course, you got Merle, and Merle, he's tough as he can be. And that's another great driver that's out here, and he's going to win a bunch. You're going to know his name. He knows the truck. He knows the job. And he listened to the things that was being taught to him and shown to him. And I love him like a brother. He's so good. I went down to safety drive with him. And then with Roger Anderson, he's another great driver that I've known since APA days, and we've rodeoed for all the years together. And but about the championships, like I said, I just worked so hard on reading that book. You help the book up. Go ahead.
I want to answer this call, so let's answer this call, okay? Well, we'll have to call that one back. It went out on me there, so we'll call it back. Hello, welcome to Truckers Voices. Who do we have? I think my phone's kind of messing up on me. Let's try it back again. Go ahead and talk to him there, Steve-O. We'll call back.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. People that don't do the TDCs, the truck driving championships, it is a competition, but you may not do as good as what you wanted to, but Jeff, you can attest to this. You're happy for those that won.
Yeah.
Because there again, we're all friends. We all help each other. And it's kind of funny because I got a motto that a lot of guys got. Say you're driving on Saturday and you're watching it on Friday, and you're standing there with a guy that's in your class, and you're talking about how you'd set this up. Well, then you go into the bullpen, and he'll look at you and say, "Hey, how would you approach problem 4?" Can't tell you today. Can't tell you today. I told you yesterday, but I can't tell you today because you might go out there and beat me.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It makes a professional out of you. We're very fortunate where we do it at Kalahari. But it's a good time with the family. But you're there for the championship.
Yeah.
And but. Yeah, it's awesome. Just real quick, what are you doing now that you're retired? Fishing, golfing?
Yeah, and just having fun and doing nothing, and getting to see my grandson's sports: baseball, basketball, football.
Right.
And I've learned too, real quickly, that tomorrow is another day. I didn't know what that meant for a long, long time, and I just enjoy myself. Some days I sleep till 10:30, 11. Some days I'm up at 7 and taking care of things. And, you've always got dentists, doctor eyes, or health checkups, heart things or whatever. But for the most part, we've got a Labrador that is absolutely the greatest dog. And so I spend a lot of time with him, and I just enjoy my days. Let me tell you. I didn't know I'd ever get to this point, with all the things with the pension and all the stuff that's happened with the YRC stuff and all that. I just did it, after all that. I could have went on. I was going to maybe try to get on at ABF, and let me mention real quick, Paul Seville. We were talking about the people, and Paul, he's another one, man, that was been a great friend, and he's taught me so much as well, and I hope I've taught him. And that was part of our team that we practiced with. We couldn't get a team at our own company, so we got a team with all the different companies. And again, we never cared if you were Teamster or non-union or whatever. We didn't care. You wanted to rodeo and you wanted to learn something, come on, man, come on over here. Just like you said, we'll do this. And I got that from my dad. My dad didn't care what color your skin was, what your religion was. If you were man, woman, you wanted to be on that rodeo, man, he's going to help you. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to love you before it's over with.
Exactly. So and like you said, you're loading or unloading at a warehouse or a dock somewhere, and it doesn't matter what the name is on the side of your truck or on your uniform. You're all doing the same job. You pitch in, you help each other out, and you get it done. And, the trucking industry's lost a lot of that in the last few years. And I blame it on the truck stops. Not all of it, but I blame it on the truck stops. And the reason I blame it on the truck stops, they took the round tables out of the truck stops.
Yeah.
Now you've got Wendy's, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and stuff like that. But when you used to be able to go in and sit down, and I'm talking over the road here,
I know.
And even you local guys, and that was great. When I run over the road 18 years ago, I'd be sitting there at the round table eating breakfast, and I'd get my dispatch, and there'd be a local guy sitting there. And he goes, "You ever been there before?" I said, "No." He'd tell me how to get there.
Yeah, that's it. That's
what door to walk into. I mean, but now nobody talks to each other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'd be afraid to open your mouth. You're this kind of dirty, this or that, and I'm going, man, I just want to know how to get here. I'm not asking all this other. And it's funny you said that. We used to go we worked for Wyford and my friend Joe, and we'd all go to Pearl's Diner in the morning down here, and you could get the trucks in, and all of the roadways and Carolinas and CF, all them guys would be in there, and that's how we met. And they, them guys, they took us under their wing, and they treated us good. We're out there hauling freight the same as they was. They probably wouldn't liked it if we would have been going across their strike line or something, but we didn't get to that point. We made a friendship, a working relationship, and then it turned into a friendship. And that's what pains me about the world today. People don't want to help each other with anything. And so anyway, I'm glad as I can be the time frame I grew up in, and I'm so thankful for the training I got. And what company, Roadway and all them, they did a great thing for me. And Yellow, when they did that, that merge, and they kept West so worried we weren't going to go to the TDCs anymore. And they kept paying to go to that. So, I'm thankful, man, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And that's from my heart. I've been an amazing time.
Now, I've got a question, and it's kind of a tough one.
That's okay.
But if you had it to do over again, would you do anything different? Would you have went a different direction?
No. I thought that when I retired. I sat here and soul search. No, sir. There might have been a few little things that maybe I could have made a better choice on or made a better decision. But the path I went, maybe I would have worked a little harder to get that scholarship for baseball. But the life that I got out of this, what I got out of being in the trucking industry, the knowledge, all the work ethic, all of these things are priceless. So, and I got to take that and hand it to my kids. My kids, they might not know how to be any place on time, but they are good workers when they work and they go every day. So, and all three of them. So I'm just saying, but they learned that from their dad and their mom, and I learned that from my mom and dad. So, and in the industry.
And I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Go ahead.
Let me tell the listening audience, I'm working on getting the phones hooked back up to the board here. So you keep calling. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get y'all in there. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I agree with what you said. If I knew then what I know now, I might have maybe not went to work for this company, or I would have done this a little different. But as far as the trucking industry, no, I would have. I cannot see me doing another path. I always joke I was born to be a truck driver, and here I am. I'm killing it. And
me too. Like I said, my dad, my uncles, it was in our family, and when I started working for that little kosher health food place, man, I thought, well, this is pretty cool. These guys go everywhere, and they paid time and a half after 8 hours, and all the Jewish holidays I got off, and all my holidays. And I thought, man, I'm in heaven. This is pretty cool. We was off the whole month of August half the time, and it was neat. And then again, traveling, and I would go all night. I'd go up and drop 40 stops in Indy. Then I'd go to Chicago and load and come back. And,
welcome to Truckers Voices. Who do we have on the line here?
This is David Cummings.
Hey, David, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yeah.
Hey, Steve, can y'all hear us?
Yes. Yeah, got him loud and clear. How you doing, David?
I can't hear Steve and them for some reason. They're not coming through my headphone right now there, David. But let me, I tell you what, I'm having all kind of problems with this board right here tonight.
Technical difficulties. You got to love it.
One of those nights.
Well, David, I got you.
And I got calls coming in left and right.
Go ahead and ask your question, David.
So I don't know. You can't hear them, and I can't hear them, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
They're connected, but we're not connected.
Well, this is not good. It's not good for a show. David, let me try to call you back in a minute, okay?
Yep, no problem.
Ain't that something? But anyway, back to my question. You run city, and how come you never went line haul?
Well, when I went to Roadway, and my friend that I went there with, we were going to run line haul. And at that time, like I said, we were a casual a day and a half at Roadway. So that'll tell you anything. It was hard to get in that place. We came with CDLs. We knew how to drive, and they were hiring drivers. And we a day and a half, and they put us on the 10% list. So another, I think it was 6 weeks, 7 weeks. My wife at the time was about due to have my son any day. And that played into a lot of the part of what did I want to be a part of that child's life. That's the good thing about what I've done in the city. I got to see a lot of stuff with my kids, baseball and in the programs and stuff. I missed a lot too, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been on the road. You know that life, you know what that is. So that was the reason why my son Austin, and he's 33, Yeah, 33 right now. So my kids are all grown, but
Right.
but they're good. They got good hearts, and I love them to death. So, but that's the reason why I didn't go at that time. And then my manager kept going, "We're going to get a city bid. You're going to get a city bid any minute." And then that took 4 more years, and I finally got one. So it worked out.
But like I said before, and you said it too, that's the great thing about trucking. If you got something that you want to do in the trucking industry, it's there.
It's there.
It's there. You just got to get with the right company, the right people, and it's there.
Right. And you can investigate that. You don't have to just take the first thing that comes along. You got to get that CDL and all that, or you got to get to a place that's going to put you in a program to get that. And that's my biggest thing, to go out to the companies, just give these guys a little bit of extra time. I know it costs money, but what's the dollar value on when they go out and wreck a truck after somebody signs off on them right off the bat?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, it's hard. It's a hard thing, and I don't have the answer for all that, but they need more training, and I think you can get a better class of driver out of it. So,
yes, exactly.
That, and that's what you're going for. That's what you want.
I gotta ask you this, because I did this to my kids. It drove them crazy. When the kids were little and everybody was on vacation or something, did you always
Hello, can you hear me?
the wrong things? Trucks.
Can you hear me?
Steve, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, we got a call on the line, so sorry about that, everybody. We had technical problems there. So who do we have on the line here?
Paul Seville.
Hey, Paul, I apologize about that. We was having some technical
The
difficulties.
real deal. What's going on, real
Paul
deal?
Seville.
Real deal.
Hey, amigo.
I just wanted to call in and tell you a quick story about Jeff.
Yeah, go ahead. We're listening.
Number one, I wouldn't be the driver I am without Jeff's mentorship. And, I'm really fortunate that I ran into Jeff early in my career, because he really shaped a lot of who I am today. So I want to make sure I say that and get that out of the way real quick. But, Jeff has helped so many people, has had such a good heart about just wanting to see people do well. And I have to tell you that all the stuff that we had done and been through, and I had went to and won a championship, and I went to the Nationals, and that year Jeff was a volunteer, and I had even made it to the finals, to the final drive. Okay, and I think that year they started doing it the 1 through 5. Okay, but for me, I heard that I was one of the finalists, and there's, when you hear that, everything's going crazy, right? And I'm walking through the crowd, and I see Jeff, man, he's fighting his way over to me, right? And Jeff just has tears. He has tears in his eyes running down his cheek. And I knew you could do it. And that's the kind of guy Jeff is. And I love him. He's just one of the best guys that you could ever run into in your career. That's my story.
Yeah,
That's an awesome story, Paul. Thanks for telling that.
Go ahead and hold on, Paul, and I'm going to let Jeff respond back to you there.
Hey,
okay.
I love you too, pal. I do. And you made it a treat to be a part of learning this truck driving thing and this championship thing. And that day when they called your name, I couldn't have been more proud that if it was me, or anybody else. You deserved it. You did the work. And in a short time, you got that, and I was thrilled for you. And you're going to be amazing at whatever you do. You got your new path, your spices. You ought to tell them about them real quick.
Yeah.
And You're a good dude, Paul, and you've done a
Yeah.
lot, and you've helped a lot of people as well. And I'm proud I got to know you too. So, thank you, pal.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Paul, go ahead and tell us about the spices, man.
Yeah, I started a new company called Sir Seville's Ideal Rubs, and it's a steak rub, and it's a chicken rub, and it's a veggie rub.
Okay.
The veggie rub doesn't have the Carolina Reaper in it, but the chicken rub and the steak rub, they do have the Carolina Reaper in it, but it's not something that's overpowering. It's something that complements the other spices. So when you taste this rub, you're gonna really taste a really good complementary taste of the heat and spices together. And my slogan is "Feel the heat, savor the flavor."
I like that.
Nice.
I like that. So,
You gotta,
so, Paul, tell us where somebody could go and find that out.
Yeah, it's sirrubs.com, SIRRUBS.com.
Okay. All right. Sirrubs.com. All right. Well, Steve, you got something before we let Paul go? Because I know we got some other phone calls coming in.
right, exactly. No, good job, Paul. Good job. No cost on that free advertisement.
All right. Well,
Thank you, guys.
thank
All
you.
right, you guys
Love
keep
you, brother.
doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, bye.
That's hilarious.
So, Steve, I'm going to backtrack, and I've got another call. I'm going to call back, okay?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and talk.
All right. What are we going to talk about? We're truck drivers. We ain't got nothing to talk about. We're truck drivers. We're all quiet. But, it's friendships like that you keep forever.
Yeah.
Like you said, you said it best. You meet people umpteen years ago. You may go a year or two and not hear from them. The next thing you know, you look down and you're like, wow, I ain't heard from that guy in I don't know how long, and you stay in touch and you head to customer base and you get to know your customers. And, just let me say that if it wasn't for the manufacturers building the product, the people distributing the product, the city guy picking it up, the dock worker moving it across the dock, loading it on a road driver's truck, and a road driver carrying it down the road, and then it goes back again to the dock worker, back to the city guy, making that delivery. It's just one big circle. Nobody is better than anybody else. We're all spokes on the wheel to keep that wheel turning.
It's a team.
Exactly. It is a team.
I would say that to people and they look at me like I had two heads. And I'm going, man, just think about just everything that you just said. I try to explain how that pattern goes. And I'm the guy that's walking in there with this guy's skid that half of it's all on through my trailer, that somebody just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and somebody just take a few minutes and recoup it before they put it in there and tidy it up. Usually 8-9 times out of 10, it was good. And the people would see that I would do that, or I'd make the phone calls to make sure it got good or it got paid for or whatever. The people love that. You show them that you care.
So I think we got a call. Can you hear me, caller?
Yes, I can.
All right. Who do we have on the line here?
This is David Cummings out of North Dakota.
Hey, David. Sorry about that. I had to connect you back up just then. This board's messing up tonight. So go ahead, David, and talk to Jeff tonight.
Well, I want to thank you for the show tonight. That segment on training and on mentorship. I really feel the same way that's something that's been lost over the years. I was trained by a man who was around 70 years old, took me under his wing at 21 years old and taught me how to drive hauling steel from Washington, Pennsylvania, Wheeling, West Virginia up into New York State and back. And my first trip, he took me on the interstate. And after that, he told me he was driving the interstate and I was driving the 2 lanes because anybody could drive the interstate.
Right.
He taught me hard work. He taught me, professionalism and, the customer relationship, just like you're talking about. And I also want to say thank you for your dedication to this industry and your service to it all those years. It's refreshing to hear somebody talk about, taking that extra time to do it the safe way, making sure you strap everything in and placard it right, and just being able to pass that on to even just one other person. I really appreciated that segment.
David, I appreciate what you just said there, and thank you for listening. And I believe you'll have a great career at what you're doing. And that meant the world to me that you even listened to me. So thank you. And that's what would make our world a better place today if more people would just listen a little bit. And what that old guy taught you, just try to learn something new every day, and your career will go. There's no limit. So I'm just saying, but thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate that.
I also wanted to say just real quick too, your words about the truck driving competition. I've had the chance to go to nationals the last 3 years, and in this last year I made the finals for the first time, and I ended up 5th. And for a while that bothered me because I didn't do as well in the finals as I wanted to. But hearing your words about you have that desire for that championship, but realizing what you've accomplished and being proud of what you're able to accomplish, as well as at the same time mentoring others, and that helps me with the perspective on it. Obviously, I chase those goals that I have, but even if I don't achieve them, it still doesn't mean I'm not successful, because every year I get a chance to compete is another year I was safe, and that's the ultimate goal.
That's well said, and that's exactly the truth. And that's what I wanted to convey about sitting here and having any regrets because I didn't win a national championship. On those days, 5th or 7th or 12th or whatever it was the best I could give and do. And you got to figure every day you drive that street and you know how hard it is to leave that yard and come back safely. And when you do that, and you do that every day for a year, you've accomplished something amazing. And then to be able to win your state TDC and then be able to take that and place 5th at the nation and the nationals, you hang your head and hold it up, buddy, and be proud. And because you'll win that first place, you keep going. You got a good attitude, it seems like to me, and you listen good. So good for you, man. I'm thrilled for you, David.
David, thank you for calling, and appreciate and good seeing you this past weekend at the safety drive. And tell your wife and your son we say hello.
Yeah, I sure will. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
All right, go ahead. I have one more call that we're going to go back to.
All right. He thought he had one more call.
Well, I got one that keeps coming up, but it says suspected spam, so they might be wanting to sell me something.
Exactly. Sell you a vacation home in Tahiti or something.
Right, we'll see what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Hello, this is Truckers Voices. Who do we have on the line here?
This is Sarah, Jeff's daughter.
Hey, Sarah. So thank you for calling. And what do you want to say to your dad there?
Well, he's everything that everybody said. He's the greatest. He's my hero, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him. So, and he's pretty much like my favorite person.
So Sarah, are you in the same household with him right now?
I am not. I am out in Blanchester. I'm about 40 minutes away from him.
Okay, all right. I was going to tell you to come say hey on the camera if you was, but but that's such kind words, and I'm going to let Jeff respond to you there.
Yeah, I love you, girl, and you're amazing, and the sky's the limit for you. You keep raising them boys, and you keep doing good for them boys while you're doing good for yourself, and you're going to get their dreams and all your stuff's going to come together one of these days good. You are so smart, and you know one thing that I love about my 3 children, and I'll tell the world this, that my kids, all 3 of them, have got great big hearts. So you spread that with everything that you do. So I love you to death, and I'm so proud of you, and thank you for calling. And this has been, I was terrified to come on here today and do all this, and you just, it's been pretty good. I can't believe that you called. So anyway, thank you so
Well,
much.
you've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. But you got to tell them the story about Alligator Alley. You can't get off there without telling them that story.
That's right. Tell us about Alligator Alley, because I did see that message. Yep.
Oh.
So, Sarah, I'm going to let you listen offline. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, I'll tell this, but my friend that he probably listening to, that we went from the kosher health food place to when he started driving a tractor trailer, we drove for Worthy, and they hauled containers back and forth. So anyway, it worked out that I could take a trip with him to Miami. My boy, I was called in sick, whatever the case was. And this has been a long time ago. I don't advise anybody to do this, but anyway, he had a brand new Kenworth and one of those 40-foot containers, or the little ones that you pull the tandems out on the back. It's right. 43,000 pounds. The tractor was as long as the trailer. So the truck didn't have any permits to get through Tennessee, so we had to kind of sneak through 25 and all this. I know I'm telling bad things, but to Green Gold, Georgia, and then he got his money, and on anyway, we get to Miami, drop and hook, find the trailer, and we get ready to get on the road, and we don't have much fuel. So I told him, I said, well, let's go up here, truck stop, and get some fuel. And he just got some comm checks. He said, well, I'll just get some fuel on the turnpike. Well, jump on the turnpike, go. This is 40 years ago, guys, 42 years ago. It's a long time. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I think 2 o'clock, 2:30. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing he's banging switches on the dash. I'm in the bunk, and he's doing like this, and I feel his truck going. Oh no! And I come out of there. So we're out of fuel. So he rolls over. We're barely off the highway, and it's right down there in Alligator Alley, in Florida. And anyway, long story short, he finally got somebody to take him to go get some fuel. And I would have swore he was gone for 3 hours. I didn't know somebody took him and killed him and took him away or whatever. And he made it back, and we got fuel, and we got to where we could get some fuel with a credit card and got back home. But there's a little bit more to it than that. I probably shouldn't indulge over the airway, but a very scary time. But if you look back on it and you think, my gosh, man, it was a learning experience, actually. But that guy I'm talking about, Joe, he was one of the best drivers I've ever seen in my life. So when you guys asked earlier, who did I see or who did I learn something from? And that would be that man right there. So he could flat out drive. So anyway, that's about it.
We have went well past our normal hour tonight.
I know.
And that's all because of some of the phone issues, and I wanted to kind of get some of those phone calls in there. But I hear the music playing in the background, and we're fixed to have to go off the air here, Jeff. It's been great. Love hearing your story. Want to have you back on the show in the future. Maybe even you and your sister back on the show. And
would love to.
But it would be great. It really would be. But we always end with a word of encouragement and a word of safety. So we're gonna start with you, and then we'll let Steve, and then I'll close the show out.
Well, I just want to say to you two, thank you for what you do in the trucking industry right now. Not just this program, but your training and ultimately being safe every single day. That means the world to me. So keep it up and keep going and keep doing.
Absolutely. Steve?
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you coming on. You did fantastic, brother. You did fantastic. And, man, I'll look forward to seeing you here in a couple months. And we'll sit down and laugh about tonight and have a good time. But you did fantastic. Hey, appreciate all your service, everything you've done, everything you continue to do. And everybody out there, be safe. Like I always say, the most important trip is the trip home. God bless y'all.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. and we hope that y'all have a great weekend. Hey, Louisville Truck Show's going on. The MATS 2025 is going on, and if you go over there tomorrow, you might run into this guy right over here, Steve. He's going to be over there. Y'all go see Steve over at MATS, and y'all talk a little bit about about Truckers Voices. But anyway, y'all be safe out there tomorrow on the road. It's the weekend. Spring breakers are going to be out on the highway trying to get to their destination. We're sharing the road with them, and we want to share it as safe as we can. And the way you do that is you look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. We'll see you right here on Truckers Voices next Thursday night. We got a guest that's in the wings. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Out on the blacktop, the moon hanging low. Two truckers riding where the big rigs roll. Tool man's got a story, 10 speed's got a laugh. They're spinning tales on the radio path with a CB buzz and a coffee cup. They're rolling hard, never giving up. From coast to coast, their words take flight to kings on the highway, rolling through the night. It's 10 speed and two-man tales from the road. Stories of the weigh-ins and heavy loads. From the desert sands to the Great Smoky Pines, they're sharing their lives 1 mile at a time. Remember that time in Amarillo town? We broke down the truck, but still made it round. Tool man grinned and the diner burned out, but we got a pie before they shut it down. 10-speed chuckle, how about that storm? Lightning so close, it kept the rig warm. They swapped their stories like an old school jam, just two truckers living off the land. It's 10-speed and two-man tales from the road. Stories of the weigh-ins and heavy loads. From the desert sands to the Great Smoky Pines, they're sharing their lives 1 mile at a time. Now their podcast playing on every dial. Truck stops and diners for miles and miles. Folks tune in for the laughter and grit, the truth of the road and the heart of it. From runaway ramps to the midnight skies, Tool man swears on 10 speeds lies. But in every tale, there's a bit of gold. Two friends on a journey, their bond untold. It's 10 speed, two-man tales from the road. Stories of the weigh-ins and heavy loads. From the desert sands to the Great Smoky Pines, they're sharing their lives 1 mile at a time. So if you're out driving, just tune in tonight. Hear 10 speed, two-man under lights. Their voices